Suffering from anxiety, pain, aching muscles, and poor circulation? A simple bath can fix this. Our herbal bath formula is known to correct these issues. Visit our store at www.blacksunrise.com/herbs page. Remember to spell sunrise SONRISE. And you can also leave us a review. Welcome to Global Black News. In today's headline article, Fragile Truce agreed in Libya after 9 months of infighting. You can find the article on www.blacksunrise.com. Both sides in Libya's conflict agreed to a ceasefire from Sunday to end 9 months of fighting, following weeks of international diplomacy and calls for a truce by power brokers Russia and Turkey. The oil-rich North African country has been racked by bloody turmoil since the 2011 NATO-backed uprising killed longtime so-called dictator Muammar Gaddafi, with multiple foreign powers now involved. Why do we keep seeing the same thing play out over and over again? So we're told that Saddam Hussein was a dictator, okay? Saddam Hussein gets taken out, and then we see a bunch of power brokers move into the country gets divided, and then the country falls to different factions. It happened in Iraq, it happened in Syria, it's happening in Lebanon. Lebanon is somewhat stable. It happened in almost happened in Egypt. It happened in Afghanistan. It happened in Libya. Something about this doesn't seem right to me, but let's continue with the article, right? The UN recognized Government of National Accord, GNA, in Tripoli has been under attack. So the UN-backed government is under attack in Tripoli. Why? We don't know. Since last April, from forces loyal to Eastern-based strongman Khalifa Haftar, which on January 6 captured the strategic coastal cities of Sirte. Late on Saturday, Haftar's forces announced a ceasefire at midnight. GNA head Fayez al-Sarraj followed suit early Sunday, confirming the ceasefire had taken effect. The UN mission in Libya welcomed the announcement and called on all parties to respect the ceasefire. Likewise, the Arab League urged Libya's factions to commit to stop fighting. Now, again, every time there's a so-called strongman in the Middle East, he gets taken out, the country falls to different factions, and then we see a sort of a power grab from bigger countries like your Russia, like your China, like your European states, like the United States. The country falls, and then swaths of territories and swaths of strongholds fall to those internal factions and those external factions. But there's something really interesting that takes place as well. We'll get into that, right? So, diplomatic offensive. Leaders of a battalion loyal to Libyan General Khalifa Haftar, pictured in the eastern city of Benghazi in December 2019. Both sides in Libya's conflict agreed to a ceasefire that started early Sunday. Okay, I am all for ceasefires. I am all for not killing humans. I am all for peace accords and not getting into trouble and murdering people with weapons. I am all for that. But, I'm also practical. Like, is there a bigger agenda here? Like, let's ask some questions, right? So we see, let me finish the article and then we're going to get to some crazy, just perspective, right? Artillery fire could be heard shortly after midnight in the capital before quiet settled over the southern Tripoli suburb. Uh, Contacted by AFP at noon, a spokesperson for pro GNA forces, Mustafa Al Medji, reported a calm situation so far on the front lines. It also reiterated its immutable position that any ceasefire initiative cannot succeed without withdrawal of the aggressor from where they came, from the country's east and south. So Turkey's in the mix. Now, why would Turkey have a vested interest in Libya? We don't know. Turkey's defense ministry said the belligerents have been trying to respect these truces since they came into force, and the situation has been calm apart from one or two isolated incidents. The truce came after a diplomatic offensive led by Ankara, capital of Turkey, and Moscow, capital of Russia. What's going on here? And I want people to start thinking for a second. Is Moscow, Beijing, and Ankara, or Ankara, depending on how you pronounce it, are they Washington's clean up dogs? I don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm asking you to think, right? Why would I say that? Okay, let's look at the situation in Afghanistan. I mean, the Russians were in Afghanistan before the United States, right? But when the United States got involved, who were the cleanup dogs? Then we look at the mess in Iraq. The United States came in, fallout in Iraq, there was a mess in Iraq. Who were the cleanup dogs? Then we look at Syria. The United States came in, Syria broke apart, internal factions took over large swaths of territory, external forces, I guess, are trying to call a ceasefire. But time and time again, we keep seeing this narrative of, and I'm not saying this to disrespect the United States, is there a bigger agenda here? Follow me out here. So we see this pattern of there's a supposed strongman boogeyman in the Middle East. He's a dictator. He's abusing his people. But for the most part, he keeps the peace, right? He falls, a power vacuum is created, and then the country that was once one country gets broken up into multiple pieces. But then get this, it gets broken up into multiple pieces, and then there's factions, internal factions, holding on to wide expanse of territories, and they're fighting with the other factions in that country. So when you had the strongman, there was one country. The country gets broken up. It's several factions in the country holding on to portions of the country. Okay, that can happen when there's a vacuum that's created. But then comes the external players. And the thing that surprises me is that the external parties always seem to be the same people. You're Russia, you're China, you're Turkey. So is there something going on here where the US is being led into wars, to start wars, and then the world hates them, and then Russia and China comes in to bring peace and stability, and then they look like the saviors? Am I the only person seeing this? So let's look at Libya. So we take out Muammar Gaddafi. The slave trade gets instituted again because there are slave auctions still going on in Libya, like we forgot. When Gaddafi was in power, no black people were being sold into slavery. Gaddafi was murdered. Again, I still don't understand I'm still trying to figure out, how do you assassinate sitting leaders? But that's just me. I'm not an international lawyer. Gaddafi gets assassinated, I guess, killed, I guess. I don't think it's anyway, I'm not getting into the legality of killing sitting leaders. But anyway, nonetheless, Gaddafi was taken out. Libya falls. We see the same template. Libya falls, the country gets broken up. Where did we see that before? Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, soon to be Iran. And then slavery gets instituted, right? So then who comes in to stabilize the country? This time, it's power broker Russia and power broker Turkey. Am I missing something here? Because it seems to me that American military is being used as the destroyer, and then the East, Russia's sort of kind of East and West, because Russia's huge, and it's usually Russia and China who come in as the international stabilizer. Could this be some conspiracy to make the United States the military aggressor so that the whole world would hate the United States for their acts of military aggression, and then bring in the Russians and the Chinese, who, by the way, are still communists? One is an oligarchy communist country and one is a capitalistic communist country, but they're both communists. And I have no problem with communists. I have no problem with capitalists. But I'm just saying. And then Russia and China comes in to save the world. Anyway, you can read the article at www.blacksunrise.com, and the article is called Fragile Truce Agreed in Libya After 9 Months of Fighting. Join us again for another segment of Global Black News.